CCCR, or Centre for Creative and Cultural Research, investigates the ancient, innovative relationship between social culture and creative production. Based in the Faculty of Arts and Design at the University of Canberra, we generate scholarship and artwork in a wide array of humanities, social science, applied and creative disciplines. You are listening to a fresh presentation from the CCCR's Culture and Creativity Seminar Series. To learn more about the Centre's work, please follow the links in the program notes. This podcast was recorded on the unceded lands of the Ngunnawal and Ngambri peoples.
Hi everybody, my name's Paul McGee. I'm the Director of the Centre for Creative and Cultural Research here at the University of Canberra. I'd like to start these proceedings by acknowledging that we're here on the lands, the unceded lands of the Ngunnawal and Ngambri peoples. So today it's my pleasure to introduce Hamed Golzad. Hamed is a Senior Lecturer and Program Director of Building and Construction Management here at the University of Canberra, and he's a core member of the Centre for Creative and Cultural Research. Prior to joining academia, Hamed worked as a site engineer and program manager for more than 6 years, successfully handling projects of varying scales and complexities. His research focus is on addressing the critical challenges of workforce, digitalisation, and resilience in the built environment sectors. Please join me in welcoming.
Thanks, Paul. Right, hello and good afternoon, everyone. Today I want to give some insight about our project with the HT government regarding gender diversity and barriers for women in construction. So a little bit background about the industry. So globally, it's about 13% of the global GDP. And it includes around 10% of the global workforce. The skill shortage is a common problem in other countries. So the recent report from the US, from the UK, they indicate that they have a critical problem here in terms of securing workforce for the construction. So Australia is similar in that problem. So in terms of the GDP, it's around 11% of the GDP and 9% of the workforce are in the construction industry. According to the Master Builders Association report last year, there are more than 10,000 unfilled positions in the construction industry. Plus, there is housing shortages, etc., which demands more workforce into this industry. When looking into the gender diversity, it's around 15% of the total population in the workforce comprising of women. Although it has improved over years, and it was much less than that. So one of the things is to address this workforce shortage collectively is to bring in more women into construction industry or attracting more women into construction industry, which normally comprises of the 50% of total national workforce. So and this industry is much behind in that percentage. And also the construction industry has improved over time. So traditionally, the belief was that it's a physically demanding job. It's all labor-based job. And now looking into the jobs, we have more automation in the industry. More offsite activities. So most of the jobs are or activities are done elsewhere in factories, and they basically make the job on site much easier. We have more advanced machineries on site compared to before. And also there are more roles that they are not basically known to people. Essentially, there are more opportunities in the industry. In this study, we looked through the literature, the existing literature and the recent ones. There are lack of study around understanding why there are less women in construction and what are the barriers. So we try to address these three objectives. First, to identify what are the key barriers. Second is to identify what would be the critical success factors for women in construction. And then looking into policy-wise recommendations, how to improve gender equity. So the research approach we took was qualitative approach to have a deep understanding of what's going on and to identify the key factors. Prior to conducting some interviews, we did some desktop studies, reviewing the existing literature to identify the key factors, key barriers affecting participation of women in construction. Then we conducted semi-structured interviews based on the insights from the literature. So in total, we interviewed 10 participants, 8 female and 2 males. And then we used thematic content analysis to analyze the transcripts of the interviews. So here is the demographics of the interviewees. So mostly female. The work experience is basically evenly distributed, 5 to 10 years. And we had the minimum 5 years of experience as the requirement to participate in the interview. 11 to 20 years and 21 plus. And then among the roles of the interviews, we had managers, directors, and retired interviewees. It should be noted that those who are in director or manager roles, they've started from lower positions and they basically climbed the ladder into the higher level. So they have a really good understanding of the industry. And the reason for going for 10 interviews was basically based on data saturation rule. So we continued interviews to the point that in the last 2 interviews, we don't see any new information. And then we continue one more step, one more interview. And if it generates new information, we keep going with the interviews. But if it doesn't, we stop the interview and we assume the data is saturated enough. So that's about the data collection part. So here are some insights from the interviews. Again, I should emphasize that this is a qualitative research, so the order of the factors, they're not representing their importance. So it needs another step to do a quantitative research to find out which factors are more important. So that's something to mention. So gender bias and sexist attitude. So again, it comes down to the traditional belief or perception that construction is a men's job. Interviewers mentioned that this is still a common thing among the general population. And also the second one is underrepresentation and lack of role models. So statistics show it that we have 15% women in construction. So essentially, we'll have less number of women on site, and they feel alone, or there are fewer of women on site compared to men, and that's that basically gives them the feeling of they are less on site, and maybe it's not a position for them. Lack of role models. So there are less number of directors and project managers that are women. Also, interviews mentioned that these factors has improved over time. So now we are in much better position compared to 10 years ago, and it keeps improving. Work-life balance and family commitments. So construction works generally start from 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Often workers have to work on Saturdays to keep up with the timelines of the projects. And in addition to that, there is also this traditional belief that women are the main caregiver in the family. So they have to take care of the kids, etc. So considering that they have to start the work at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. and there is no childcare open at that time, that's also creates another issue. And also in emergency situations, that's another barrier for women. Limited access to mentorship and career development. It's a general thing in construction. So there are less access to mentorship and career development opportunities in construction compared to other sectors like engineering sectors or other ones. So that was another one. Site culture and isolation. I think it was somehow mentioned in the gender bias, but also the site culture has the attitude that women workers are suitable for more office-based jobs and not on-site jobs. And also they feel like isolated for high-risk activities. So the general attitude is to give the high-risk jobs to men, where the salary is also higher. So that's also another factor. Confidence and self-perception. So feeling isolated on site also affect their confidence. And also self-perception is, again, the cultural thing. So another cultural factor that, again, construction is a male job, etc. So that's another thing. And limited awareness among school leaver about the construction jobs. So the general attitude is that the construction works are all labor works, and they don't have clear idea about what types of jobs are in the construction, and even the salaries, the duties in the jobs, and the scope of the jobs, etc. So there is limited awareness. Then we asked the participants about the critical success factors. From the responses, we can categorize them into two groups of personal and organizational factors. So here, up to number 5 are the personal factors, and after that are the organizational factors. Self-confidence and resilience. They mentioned it's important that they have self-confidence and also resilience in such an environment that there are more men compared to women. Communication and networking skills. The interviews mentioned that it's a key skill in construction to be able to develop their networks and communicate well with their clients and their co-workers. Technical and practical skills, they mentioned it's a significantly important factor for them to be able to have good technical and practical skills to be able to achieve higher levels or better positions. Leadership and professionalism. Leadership is basically be able to handle to be able to manage their teams and have that confidence, and professionalism is always respected in construction. Positive attitude and willingness to learn. Construction projects, unlike manufacturing, are basically you get a new project which can be completely different than the previous one. Whereas in manufacturing, your everyday job is to produce similar product. So there should be an attitude to learn and be able to find solutions for the new challenges. Mentorship. So this one is organizational. So construction companies and also the organizations that they work with the construction industry, they need to improve the mentorship programs and also role model. Also be able to show women role models to young people. Next one is flexible workplace policies. Be able to suit with the requirements of each person, and also in order that the industry also works. So that's another thing. Career development opportunities and organizational support and inclusive culture. So the next, we asked the interviewees, what are the strategies to improve engagement and attraction of the school leavers to the industry? So these are the areas they've mentioned. Promote construction career awareness in schools. So demonstrate different types of jobs in the construction and the career prospects in those jobs. Use female role models and storytelling. That was another important one to show that women like men can achieve higher levels in the industry. Organize site visits and interactive experiences to show the actual industry, not the one that people usually think about. Early engagement programs and partnerships. So engage with the schools much earlier than leaving it to high school level, and develop some programs to introduce the industry, and partnership between the universities, schools, and the construction companies and organizations. Challenge stereotypes actively. Show that there can be a work-life balance, and it can be a good industry for those that are interested more into giving more care to their families. Or the role model ones, it's also an important one mentioned in this one, to show that women are also capable of achieving higher positions. Promote work-life balance possibilities and create gender inclusive school to industry pipelines. Okay, the next question we asked was about policy recommendations. So what can be done policy-wise? Promote and enforce flexible work arrangements, institutionalize mentoring and role model programs. So we have institutions within construction industry like Australian Institute of Building, Master Builders Association. They are improving in these areas, but still it's not similar to like engineering sector. When you see in Engineers Australia, they have different sorts of programs. Gender diversity reporting and accountability. So this one mentioned as part of what government can do. So when companies submit tenders for projects, there are different criteria that they need to meet, and they get a score for each of those. So this can be something implemented in public projects or government-funded projects. Embed career development and continuous training. Promote workplace safety, respect, and anti-discrimination. Just on safety, construction has always been one of the top industries in the number of workplace accidents. So it has improved a lot. Back in 1990s, it was around 25 per 10,000 workers. Now it's 3.5. So it has improved a lot. It's much safer. And most of the cases of the accidents are where they're not, we don't have an established company doing the job, rather than we have somebody hired to do a small repair or something like that. Improve school to industry pipelines, review work hours and site practices, encourage mid-career transition programs, leadership commitment, and cultural change. So in conclusion, the challenges are almost the same, but there is a visible progress in the industry. The percentages have increased, and it needs further strategic interventions to further improve the gender equity. And yeah, the last one, together we can build a better industry. Just a quote from one of the interviews. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask you to join me in thanking Hamid for a very interesting presentation.